Good morning YouTube, welcome to the Border Torque YouTube channel. I'm Chris. In today's video we're on our way to Rustival 4 2026 at the British Motor Museum at Gaydon in Warwickshire. You join me aboard James on the M40. We've not long departed from our overnight hotel and we should be at Gaydon in about 20 to 25 minutes. Hope you enjoy this video. So we'll start here, a quick look around James. Obviously I'm representing Andy's Man Club a bit while I'm here as well. I need to make an admission, I've been a bit of a pillock. I went round the show and took loads of photos of loads of cars and kind of flattened the battery of my phone. So what I ended up doing when I was taking footage was I would take some footage and I had to nip back to the car and charge the phone a bit. Back out, take some more footage. So you'll maybe find that this video is just a wee bit disjointed. I've also not been able to go around and film all the cars that were there. I've only got some of them, and if I've missed your car, apologies for that, but it's purely because I'm a pillock. Looking along the road that I'm in, so we're starting off here, we've got the Triumph TR7, it's a 2 litre version, and these have got a slant 4 engine, some of them are 16 valve, I don't know if this one is. Then got a Suzuki Ignis Sport. These had Recaro seats with netted headrests in them that are quite hard to see. It's a 1.5 litre 16 valve VVTi engine in them, so they're surprisingly quick for the size of them. There's those netted Recaros. Next to that, Saab 9.3. I overheard the owner of this speaking earlier, and it's apparently it's a turbo version. Then got James. Beside that, Suzuki Wagon R. Then a early Peugeot 206. Mark II facelift Focus. An MG ZS. Looking lovely in this bright red colour. Very clean.
Oh yeah,
Skoda Favourite, hatchback in that case. Vauxhall Meriva, facing the Corsa C. Peugeot 405. Again, this is another car that I'm really starting to like these now. When I wasn't as big a fan in the 90s, but they're growing on me. A couple of Mark III Golfs, a 5-door hatch, and then there's a convertible here with the Vento front end on it. Got what looks like a well hard worked LDV van. K10 Nissan Micra, P2 V70. Another Twingo, 2 Twingos, and a French hatchback sibling beside, the Citroen Saxo, and it's beside that its predecessor, the AX, arguably the predecessor to the AX, the 2CV. More of the predecessor to the AX would be the Visa that's here. A couple of vans at the end. We've got the Volkswagen bus, and then Mark IV Escort van, which is fitted with a silver top Zetec engine. On the other side we've got Mark II Astra. There was a Mark II Belmont beside that, but it's left. Reliant Rialto, Volkswagen Beetle. These, I always like the shape of these, Alpine A610s. They of course have the unusual windscreen wiper setup. But I like the styling front, rear and side on these. I think these are a really attractive car. This one's a V6. Come on, Lada Riva. Saloon next to Mark I Fiesta. Some YouTube action going on there. Steph speaking to somebody about an early rear engine Skoda. Ford Cortina, and beside that I thought it was the Japanese team for the Cannonball Run coming in. Cortina GXL, nice spec, nice colour. Then got one of the Brazilian Banbury import Volkswagen campers. There's a rather noisy Morris Oxford heading out. Got Mark III Fabia, next to a Mazda Demio. Hyundai i20N. So these have a 1.6 litre turbo producing just over 200 horsepower in something the size of a Fiesta. Then got a car that's got Aston Martin tail lights on it. Mazda 323F, the 5-door hatch, which shares tail lights with the Aston Martin DB7. Also pop-up headlights, always make a car cool. Beside that we've got what happens when the Italians and the Japanese get together to build a car. You get the Japanese doing the styling and the Italians doing the engine. So these were badged Nissan Cherry Europe, or the Alfa Romeo version was the Alfa Romeo Arna. Nissan body with Alfa Romeo running gear. Big old Toyota Land Cruiser. And then right beside that we've got a Nissan Z car. It's either 350, quite probably a 350Z. And that's the row that I'm on. When did you last see a Toyota Paseo? There's two of them here. These were, if I remember rightly, they're a 1.5 litre engine. I quite liked these when they were new. Quite nice styling on them, I think. Yeah, it's too sunny to see inside. Yeah, I think these are quite a braw wee car. Where else can you find Rolls Royce? Even with white wall tyres. And you turn around. Find a Lada with white wheels. So here we've got a Triumph 2500 injection. beside a Hellman Super Minx. Then we've got a Toyota Celica. There had been a Skyline sitting up here, but that's now left. Beside the Celica we've got a raised up Mazda MX-5. Then we've got a little Morris Minor, Morris 1000. A little brows above the headlights. Then got a car that was well derided when it was new, the Triumph Acclaim. This was a Honda Ballade. It was made to start the partnership between Honda and British Leyland, as they were at the time. And this was the last gasp attempt to save the Triumph car's name. Then got another Volkswagen Beetle. Beside the bigger sibling, the newer Passat B4. And got a lovely SD3 Rover Vitesse. This one earlier had two mugs up on the dashboard showing off the T-shelf. Beside that, Rover 600. So again, these were partnerships with Honda. The SD3 was based on the Ballade, and the 600 was based on the Accord, I think it was. You then have an old Austin. I'm afraid I don't know what it is. Pre-war Austin 7. I bet that would be fun to drive. Beside the Austin 6. Despite having a smaller number on the grille, you'd think it would be a smaller car, but it's bigger. Then got a little Mark 1 Escort 1300 estate, two-door estate. Beside an old Fiat Panda, which is beside one of the brand new Fiat Pandas. And then beside that, the second generation Fiat Panda. And at the end of this row, a couple of nice little first generation Puntos. Again, we'll go back and look at the two Pandas for comparison. A bit of a walk here, because this end here is just emptied out. So we've got another Rover 75. This is a newer one, being an 03 plate. Then got a little Toyota Starlet. It says Solida on the side, so it must be a special edition. We've got the Talbot Alpine, I think this one was. I'm going to be horribly wrong with this now. Oh no, I'm correct. Talbot Alpine. You can see they made a big deal of marking up and had 5-speed gearbox, and that this is a Series 2 Alpine LS. I believe this one belongs a chap known as Citroen AX _ on Instagram. Beside that we've got a Citroen, or a pair of Citroen BXs. These are the Mark II BXs, so they have a different front end on them. We've got larger headlights and front indicators on them and deeper bumpers. It's hard to believe that these cars are distantly but related. You've got a little Citroen GS or GSA. I'll need to double check that and put it on the screen. A Forester STI. A pair of smart cars, one City Coupe, or 42 as it became known, and then the Smart Roadster. I've got a Mark 1 MX-5, probably one of the last cars to feature pop-up headlights. Then got a Z3 and a Fiat Coupe Turbo. It's a Z3 showing off 6-cylinder engine. Coupe is the 20-valve turbo engine. Not a lot of space in there to drop your 10mm socket. For fans of the up and down channel, Vet needs no introduction. Up and down, Whiteland Restorations, Hubnut, and the gay car clubs. and this one now owned by Dave of Indecisive Auto. Apparently that's easier for me to read than say. But VEP is an early Mark 1 BX. On the A plate, Ketch bought it as his parents had a red BX. And when Ketch let it go, Dave bought it from him. So yeah, nice to see VEP again. Next to VEP, and probably quite rare in Mark 1 guys, BX Estate. These were kind of workhorses of their day. They were loaded up with ladders and tools and stuff, and tradesmen were using them as work vans. It's nice to see one that's surviving and being used as a car still. An unmistakably Ford gear knob, but Rover dials. It could only be Reliant Scimitar Sabre. Extra long, we're starting with another Mark II Citroen BX. Then got one of the early Protons, so these started coming over here on a G plate in 1989. This one being a J plate is 1991 to 92. Beside that we've got a Polo. I'll need to look up what mark it is and put it on the screen. E46 convertible. Side an E36 compact. Skoda Octavia VRS. Wagon. Quite a tidy little 6N Polo. This was the 3rd generation Polo in the UK. This one with some extra lights, just because. Renault Kangoo, people carrier version in quite an unusual colour. And we've got a lovely early Renault 5 Turbo. Next to later 1st generation Volvo V40, obviously undergoing some TLC. Then got probably one of the few BMWs I like, the E39. There's a pair of them here. Burrow round, we've got a Emirates Corsa there, sporting Mark II Astra wheel trims, and then a Hyundai Pony, and then a Citroen Saxo. Beside a 110 Land Rover Defender, because why not? We've got a Merc CLK. Beside, it says it's a Noticulous. I presume it's a kit car of some description. Need to do some googling on that one and put some information on the screen. Looks like it'd be fun to drive though. I can imagine that would be a hoot. Beside that we've got an Audi A1 and then a Citroen Ami Super, little estate car. I like that. Mark II Renault 5. This is a shape that was everywhere when I was young. There's loads of these going around, and now you just hardly see them. Another shape that was around a lot when I was younger, Mark III Fiesta XR2i guys in this example. Obviously I have a very soft spot for the Mark III Fiesta because my first car was a Mark III Fiesta. Yep, mine, although it was a 1.1 LX, it got the full XR2i body kit on it. I got the full XR2i interior in it. It was basically an XR2i except for the engine. Mark III facelift Focus and facelift Mark I Renault Megane. Another Daewoo. This is I need to remind myself of the model name. Leganza, I think, if I remember correctly. But it's not, it's a Nibira. And just for the sake of it, Subaru noises. Lorry's Mechanical Marvels Defender 110 County Station Wagon, called the Green Giant. Nice big traditional green Land Rover. Heading in the back. Wee railway display. Quite liking that. Bit of Camel Trophy Series 1 Discovery. This one's a 200 TDI example.
It's still on the same route. It's now got a few more dents on it. I think I'll figure out how to fabricate aluminium at some point.
If it's got wheels, it's welcome. Where else are you going to see a big Chevy jacked up truck next to a little Renault Twingo? Start off here, Tigra Twin Top, sporting Having That and Tasty Classic stickers. So again, these were based on the Corsa C, but unlike the previous Tigra, these had a folding hardtop on them. The previous Tigra was a fixed head coupe, and beside that another Tigra showing the roof down. These Tigra fronts seem to be really common for swapping onto the combo vans for some reason. I've seen quite a few of them now. Then got a so-called Mark IV Golf convertible. What it really was a Mark III Golf convertible, including the dashboard, which was Mark III. As best you can see that. All they did was they stuck the Golf 4 headlights and bumper and wings on the front. The rest of it's fully Golf 3. Then got a Vectra Estate. When was the last time you saw one of them? Again, a shape that used to be everywhere. They were popular reps cars in the 90s and 2000s, but they've just disappeared. Beside that, Audi TT. Parked beside one of the most handsome cars ever made, the Fiat Multipla. I know, you're going to mock me for saying it's handsome. Beside that, we've got a Honda Insight. These were an early hybrid by Honda. A 1 litre 3-cylinder engine backed up by a starter generator motor that can kick in and give a little boost of power. They've got aerodynamic styled wheels, and they had these covers over the rear wheels to make them even more aerodynamic. And even just the shape was aerodynamic. And these are well renowned for being very economical little cars. And usually for a hybrid, most of them, or I believe all of them if not, were manual. A lot of hybrids these days, it's automatic gearbox.
See you later.
Beside that we have a Mark I Freelander 3-door. Then we've got an XJ Cherokee. We've got another E39 beside a little Mini, which is for sale. Then got an amazingly coloured TVR here. Just every time you look at it, it's a different colour. Rover R8. Beside a facelifted MG ZS 180. So again, these are sibling vehicles. The R8 shared everything with the Honda Concerto, and the ZS was based on what we knew as a Honda Civic 5-door, but in other markets it was called the Honda Domani. Little 4-door Datsun, beside a Toyota of some description. I'm missing that one. Triumph Dolomite and a little Honda Jazz. Daihatsu Copen. And again, this is a little car that I like a lot. They're a K-sized car, so you can get them with the 660cc engine, and they'll qualify as a K car in Japan. But then they also brought them over to the UK with a 1.3 litre engine. I believe this one is a 660, and I think it's just a nice place to be. I'd like to have a shot of one of those at some point. And then Mazda 929 Coupe. Like, you can probably even count in single hands how many of them were ever sold, never mind how many are left. Big old barge of a coupe. Got a few more empty spaces, and then we find the BMW Mini. I think another Cooper, I believe. Let's see what the badge on the back says. It is a Cooper. Beside Granada, no, it's a Cortina. Cortina 3 litre Ghia. There we go. And again, that was a car of my youth as well. I had, you know, so many family friends and things that had Cortinas. You know, Escorts, Cortinas, Granadas, you name it, Sierras. And speaking of Escorts, Mark II RS 2000. And on the end, another R8 Bubble Rover 200. One of the cars I really want to add to the fleet at some point, P2 Volvo V70R. Either in this colour or in the blue, preferably with a manual gearbox rather than automatic, just because I prefer my manuals. That's quite a nice example by the looks of things. It is a Geartronic automatic. Yeah, I think these V70s have aged very, very well. Brian, or otherwise known as that million mile Volvo, currently 858,245 miles and counting. Not easily missed, the Chevy Spark of pop bang colour. Then find the hub nut stand. So we have Betty the Fairmont. We have the new Yaris Verso and Ian's mini cab, the Toyota Avensis. Beside that we've got a Mazda RX-8, and then SsangYong Rodius. Next to the Rodius we've got an 05 plate, so one of the last Mark I Focuses. This one I believe LX spec. Next to Volvo 900 series, 940 most likely. Then got another Nissan Z car, I'm going to go guess with 350Z. Beside a Polo, I believe this is a facelift of the 6N Polo. So it's, they might count it as a Mark IV, but it's a facelift of the Mark III as far as I'm aware. Then got Nissan Sunny Saloon. We've got the Fiat Doblo Royal Snail, obviously ex-Royal Mail vehicle. Beside an early G-Reg Land Rover Discovery. So my dad used to have one of these. It was again a G-Reg 3-door Discovery. It was my dad's was a 200 TDI, and much like this one, it didn't have any of the graphics on it. It was just plain paint. This one not telling us on the back there what engine's in it, although I'm presuming it's a TDI looking at the colour of the exhaust. Like my dad's, it's got the all grey interior in it, with a stereo pointing down in the dash. As it turned out, that was a very handy place to have the stereo. We kept dropping stuff into the cassette player on my dad's one. Next to the Discovery, we've got an AX GT. Precursor to the Saxo VTR and VTS. Beside that, we've got the Honda Accord. It's many Hubnat and Furious driving meets. Little Fiat 500 and Renault 5 Prima. Then got friend Quinn's Mark 1 Focus Estate. We have a pair of Mark 1 Octavia Estates, VRS on the right, Elegance on the left. Or is it a Lorne Clement? It's a Lorne and Clement on the left, so even more elegant than the Elegance. Then the rival estate, the Mondeo Mark II. Beside a Morris Marina TC. TC for twin carb. You'll note the door handles on the Marina are the same as the door handles on the Discovery, but I think everybody knows that. Then got a Jaguar XF shooting brake. This is a brawl looking bit of kit. Side a little MX-5 and a Mark II Mondeo ST200 saloon, which is parked right beside a big Riley, of which I don't know the model. I will look at that one up. And then we've got a Mark I Mondeo beside that. So compare the two Mondeo models. Austin, I want to say A40 van, I might be wrong. Beside a BMW convertible of some description, 6 Series maybe. Next to the Mark III Astra. And then Daihatsu Kuore. Beside the new MG Cyberster. That leads on to another bubble Rover 200. Then got Citroen Saxo Forte. This was the facelift Saxo with the rounder headlights. Then got Daihatsu Applause, and I'm going to enter a photo just here now of the boot open on this, because although it looks like a saloon, even when you look at it from the side and from the back, you might not suspect it, but this is actually a lift back. So the panel gap runs up the boot and up the side of the window, and that is part of the tailgate there. Here we have a car that shared its tail lights with the Mazda 323F DB7. I believe they shared other Ford owned motor companies' parts. I think it was quite widely revealed that these used a key from a Volvo. Mazda, of course, owned by Ford by the time the DB7 came out, I believe. So that's why the DB7 got the taillights from the 323F. Another little Mini. Obviously a little bit of protection here, maybe to keep dampness off the distributor. Then we've got an older Mini Cooper. And Cooper Works. A Berlingo. And a 306 Zafira. Another MX-5, Rover 800. This is one of the later facelifted Rover 800s. Still the same basic structure as the originals, but quite heavily facelifted to make them look a bit newer. And of course this one is a Vitesse as well, which is the sportier version. The turbo, that makes me think this is going to be the T-Series turbo. Again, handsome car, and it looks a lot more modern than what the actual body shell would be. And got a droop snoot Vauxhall Firenze beside that. Inside, Scimitar GTE. This one has overdrive, don't you know, sir? Stickers in the back window make me think this one's got a bit of a story to tell. And look, Marina door handles. Somebody had one of these, can't remember who it was. Then got 205 1.9 GTI, one of the kings of the hot hatches in the late 80s, early 90s. These were hugely popular cars. And then on the end here, Mercedes 190E. Probably among the last of the Mercedes to be built that had decent build quality. So Brabus Smart for 4, silver, doesn't look like it stands out too much until you see these amazing wheels on it. They say wheels make a car, and I think in this case they really do. I think they really suit the car. Apparently the driver, thinking about centipedes. Nice little Alpha GTV, the 916 series here, and it is of course the 3 litre V6. It looks nice in this kind of flip paint, which I believe was standard if I remember rightly. And just every different angle you look at, it's got a different colour on it. Cloverleaf style wheels as well. Very nice, I like these a lot. Another unusual little Toyota is Serra. These have the gull wing doors and the glass roofs. Little windy down side window. And squeeze round the back here. Again, I think these are really smart little cars. I think a lot of them that are left in the UK are Jap import ones. I can't remember if they were ever actually sold officially in the UK or not. Here's an obvious pairing. Fiat Seicento and a Talbot Matra Rancho even. Put the right teeth in it would help. And then a T25 van. On the other side we've got a Mercedes A-Class, is it, or a CLA? Rover 200 Bubble. A Citroen Visa and the Citroen C2 beside that. Then Aston DB9. Again, these are a stunning shape of car. I always thought these were really beautiful motors. Then move on to one of the other celebrities of the day, Furious Driving's old 740. Then got an electric Porsche. And Matt's Mark 1 Focus Ghia. This one was on 35,000 miles now, I believe. And Mrs. Furious's Mini Clubman beside it. The Mark 1 Focus in surprisingly good shape for a Mark 1 Focus, even if it is a bit dinged up. On the other side, Mark 2 Astra GTE. This one looking like it's a work in progress. Beside, I want to say it's a Fiat 131. Mark II Polo bread van. Another Mini Cooper. And a Mark II Focus. And the Humber. Is that a Super Snipe or just a Snipe? Humber Snipe. Morris 1000. And the Vitara. All belong to Steph of iDriver Classic. Then got Toyota Hiace van. A couple of Morris Minors. And turn around and get the Mark 8 Fiesta next to the Mark 7 Fiesta. Then got a couple of little boxy K cars, the Honda N box first. Then the Suzuki Hustler, which is like a little mini Hummer. And then the Nissan Cube. Beside that, Mitsubishi Delica. I'm going to go out and figure out what these standard 10s they are.
With the roof off a bit, headroom to global.
Then got a little mini convertible and an MGF beside that. MR2 and an S13. Electric Volkswagen Up and the Mark 6 Escort, and then the old Morris fire engine on the end there. On the right hand side, Volvo 850. MGF, the Mark II facelift Punto, and then a pair of Mondeos on the end. So here we can do a bit of a comparison between the Mark III Vauxhall Cavalier and the Vauxhall Vectra. Now obviously on the continent the Cavalier was known as a Vectra anyway, hence why the Vectra looks like a modernised version of the Mark III Cavalier, because on the continent as an Opel it was, but for us in the UK it was a new model name. So this Cavalier here is the posh V6 GLS version. The Vectra is a 2.2 litre with the Irmshire upgrades. But having the two side by side lets you kind of compare the styling of them. I have to say, as time's gone on, I've grown to like both the Cavalier and the Vectra. I was never the biggest fan when I was a die-hard Ford guy, but I appreciate them now.
My sensors detect the vehicle in question is armored with my protective shell. Michael, surely you're not planning to go nose to nose with that behemoth?
Oh my god, it's
Cool, right?
My remote monitors seem to be malfunctioning.
If you look inside it, it's like a spaceship.
I hate to be the one to break this to you, but automobiles are not human. They have no lineage or personality. I wonder why I keep forgetting that.
Here we are, we've got Bob on tour. This is an Alexander Y-type Leyland Leopard of Midland Northern fleet. So you can see it's got the coach seating inside it. Typical Alexander Y-type bodywork. These had emergency doors both on the off side and the near side. One of the few sort of service vehicles that I know of that had emergency doors on both sides. There we go. We all worry about the electronic backseat drivers in modern cars. Imagine having 56 real life backseat drivers. And there we go, there's the near side emergency door. I can't think of many other bodies that had a near side emergency door in the UK, at least for vehicles that we use for service work. Even this one, even though this one is coach seating, it's still a service bus. So yeah, nice. Just close up here, we've got a wee look, there's a little mascot on the dash. On the subject of the Rover 800s, what about this one? Stretched Rover 800. So much legroom in the back. Fold down rear facing seats. Inside a very patinated Mark 1 Escort. And I missed this one earlier. Missing Sunny B12 estate. Beside that a 405 estate. I'm going to quickly show you one last thing before my battery runs out. This little 6-wheeled mini kit car. Brilliant. So there we have it, that's Rustival done for another year. It's been a good day out. Lots of different cars to see, all different ages and sizes and specs, from standard to modified, from patinated to immaculate. And yeah, it's been a good mix of vehicles there. It's been a fun day out. Hopefully, if all goes well, they might get another one happening later in the year, and if they do, we'll be down to that as well. So with that, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, give it a like, leave a comment. Positive criticisms, it's all welcome, just keep it respectful. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see future videos, which will include future shows that we go to. And if you have enjoyed it, consider sharing it with a friend. I've been Chris, this is Border Torque, and from Rustival, we're saying tatty bye the now. So folks, I thought I'd drop this in here right at the end. So I'm almost home, I'm about 20 miles away from home now. So far this weekend I've driven a grand total of 523 miles, so I'll probably be getting close to 550 by the time I get home. And at the minute, according to the trip computer, I've averaged 46.7 miles to the gallon, which I can't complain at. Driving time currently sitting at 9 hours 41 minutes of driving, so that's from the Scottish borders down into Hockley Heath, then from Hockley Heath across to Gaydon, then Gaydon coming back home again afterwards. So I think that's pretty reasonable timing, to be honest. I can't complain at that. As I say, I've had a great day out at Rustival. There's a great mix of cars there. Got to speak briefly to Mr. Matt Furious Driving. Seen Ian and Carly, but both of them were busy at the time, and likewise with Steph. I've seen Steph quite a few times, but every time I spotted her she was filming. So yeah, it's been a great day out. I'd thoroughly recommend it for anybody that's into cars, because you'll get a wide range of vehicles there. As the organisers say, if it has wheels, it's welcome. So yep, I'm just going to sign this off at that now. Thanks for watching. I've already done the like and subscribe, so I don't need to repeat that. I'm just going to leave you with a little drone shot here that I've just taken of the car of me driving James up the A7 on the way home. Thanks for watching. Tatty bye for now.